Hello, and welcome back to The Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite tips, but this is going to be a holiday edition. I know the holidays are coming up. Many of us are getting ready to travel. Over the last 2 years, a lot of us haven't traveled quite as much, but I know a lot of that is picking back up. These first few travel tips are for everyone, no matter what your age is. If you are going to fly, I cannot recommend that you go through the process of having a TSA pre-check. I cannot recommend that enough. It is one of my very favorite things that I have ever done. I looked it up, and right now it is $85. That is for 5 years. So that is $17 a year. So even if you only traveled once a year, $17 really is worth it, especially if you travel in or out of a busy airport. We live in Metro Atlanta. Atlanta is the busiest airport in the world. And so every time I go through that TSA pre-check line, I don't have to take my shoes off. I don't have to take my laptop out of my bag. I don't have to take my toiletries out. I literally just plop my bags up on that little conveyor belt there, and I walk right through. I am so grateful that I took the time to go through the process. And it looks complicated at first, but I promise that it's not. It's actually very, very simple. And I'm not sure what the timeline is, but we did ours several years ago, and we received our confirmation back within a week. It's a very quick process. And it also covers your children up to age 13. So from birth to age 12, when they turn 13, they need to get their own. But that was also so great that I could also take my children through that TSA pre-check with me. When my son turned 13, we took him to get his own. And then once you're ready for renewal, it's only $60 to go online and renew it for the next 5 years. So number one tip, you're going to be flying, go get TSA pre-check. My next tip, especially for flying, is we started doing carry-on only. And that seems like a lot, but the reality is all it is minimalism for packing. You look at your suitcase and you think, what are the necessary things for me to have? Am I packing too much? It really keeps you from overpacking. Worst case scenario, throw in a little bit of laundry detergent or pick some up when you get to the place you're going to and do a load of laundry while you're there. Even when we are driving, I grab that carry-on size suitcase to help me to stay focused on just bringing the necessary things. You do not want too much stuff. And I personally have been at the airport waiting and waiting and waiting. We even one time had to get a hotel room in the city that the airport was in because I was still waiting on my bags and we couldn't drive on to our destination. That is such a pain, and you really can eliminate that by your luggage staying with you. You save so much time and so much stress by just packing carry-on. One way to help you stay organized while you're packing and to keep your things all together are using packing cubes. And it's amazing how you can stuff your stuff in those cubes and then you zip it down and it really condenses the items and helps you to keep all of your stuff together. That's also so great when you have carry-ons and you're going through the TSA pre-check. And if something gets flagged, they typically will only have to pull one of those cubes out rather than rifling through your entire suitcase. And so I really, really love my packing cubes. I have the Amazon brand. They have worked so great. I've had them for years. I haven't had a zipper broken, and I will actually link those in the notes below. I love my packing cubes. Another thing that we pack in our suitcase is a laundry bag. Wherever I'm going, I love having a place that we can put our laundry. And then I just take that into one of the suitcases and I will stuff it down in there, and we'll put all the clean clothes and the toiletries and things in someone else's suitcase. Packing a laundry bag is a great way to save me time. When I get home, I just pull that laundry bag out and throw it in the laundry room. I will also link the latest laundry bag that I am personally about to purchase. I will link that below. Now let's talk about holiday travel. I have a couple of tips for you specifically for holiday travel. First of all, you don't want to wrap your presents. Even if you are flying and checking that bag, that is the worst thing, that you open up your suitcase and those beautifully wrapped packages have been opened by a TSA agent that is not really concerned with keeping your package pristine. And so what I have found that works great for us is we just pack those presents. And by packing those presents, we're also allowing room for the presents that we're going to receive to still be in the suitcase when we come home. But we pack those presents, and then in the suitcase, I also pack gift bags, tissue paper, ribbon, whatever I'm going to need. But it makes it really simple for me to put those gifts in a beautiful gift bag when I arrive to my destination, but nothing is getting messed up on the way. So you do not want to wrap your gifts if you are going to be flying. And you may want to grab an extra duffel bag or something like that to pack in your suitcase if you know that you're going to be receiving gifts, especially if you have little kids. We know that when we're traveling to grandparents, typically we are going to be coming home with more than we left with because grandparents are going to spoil their grandkids and they're going to get gifts. And so either have extra room in your suitcase or pack an extra bag so you will not be that person walking through the airport carrying all of those presents coming home from the holidays. Now, here are a few tips with traveling with kids. I love to use a refillable water bottle, one of those that will not spill. And I use those up to a pretty good age with my kids just because they want to drink water and it's good for them to drink water on the airplane. It's a great idea for them to stay hydrated, but you have those little bitty trays that if they get bumped, things are going to fall off. And so when they come around and they offer us drinks, I'm going to pour that into a cup that has a lid with a straw, and that way we are not going to spill anything. And then also we can just close that little pop top lid there, stick it in their bag, and take it with us when we get off of the airplane. So having a refillable cup that doesn't spill is a really great thing that I never want to forget. I do not want to rely on the internet on an airplane. There have been many times that I had these grand plans that I was going to get a lot of work done. I've even paid for the internet service and typically do not have that go well. And there have been occasions that we've gotten on a plane and they promise you that they have the latest kids movie available and we get ready to watch it. And then for some reason, the internet is not working. And so what I always like to do is I download shows to an iPad for my kids rather than depending on any internet or any service that they have there on the airplane. I'm going to download a show, make sure if any game they're going to play is electronic, that it is available offline. So really be mindful of that. You do not want to depend on internet in the airport or on the airplane because it is so spotty. And while we do use carry-on suitcases, typically my kids will also have a light backpack. I want to keep those backpacks really light, especially if you have young kids and there's the potential that you are going to be carrying your child's bag or even potentially carrying your child. You do not want to have your bag plus their bag and everything to be heavy. And so we keep most of our stuff in the suitcase. We keep it accessible just in case, especially when my kids were younger and I thought there was a chance I'd need to get to an extra outfit or something. I would be mindful of that when I was packing the suitcase. But as far as in their little backpacks, I'm going to pack the bare minimum where it's not heavy and it is very light just in case I need to carry that suitcase or carry that backpack. And then my last tip, especially if you're traveling with those little babies, I have seen parents traveling with a full-size high chair that they have checked and then they are trying to get out to their car. I hope that they have rented the largest car possible because fitting all of that stuff into a car seems so stressful. I actually more than once have been stopped in the airport and been asked, I'm curious, you're traveling with 2 children, especially when Elsie was a baby. I flew with her several times and Wyatt was, 9, 10, 11. And they said, you don't have very much stuff. I'm very curious because the reality is that it is so much less stressful when you are flying, especially with kids, with the less stuff you have. Yes, you want to have some backup diapers in your bag, but I am telling you, the world really is not as terrible as it's terrible in some ways, but there are a lot of really kind people. And I have personally offered diapers to people that I saw digging through and I could tell that they were running low on diapers. Here's an extra diaper that I have. You will be able to get what you need. Don't overpack. It's going to be fine. If you overpack, you are going to be stressed with all the stuff you have to carry. And then one thing I learned pretty early on is I was trying to travel with an infant while trying to fold the stroller and all of that stuff. And so what I started doing is only carrying my daughter. I had a baby wrap where I could tuck her in. And yes, you do have to take them out for when you're ascending and descending on the plane. But it was the most wonderful thing to have. I would be wearing her. When she was little, she'd be facing me. And then when she was older, she'd be facing out. I would have a backpack and a carry-on suitcase. And there we go through the airport. And it was so simple and so easy to have less to bother with. So if you have a little baby or you're getting ready to have a little baby, I know it's tempting to have that big old stroller, but if there's any way that you can get around it, maybe you can even, if you're traveling to your parents, maybe they have a stroller they can borrow from someone that you can use while you're there. If you can manage to get through the airport without a stroller, it is so much less stressful than trying to navigate a busy airport with that giant stroller. I hope that you are traveling somewhere wonderful for the holidays, or maybe you get to stay home. Being home is one of my very favorite places to be, especially for Christmas. Merry Christmas. I hope that this Christmas has so much margin for the good things in your holiday. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the bell and you'll be notified when the next video goes live.